Today, more violent clashes between police and Wall Street protesters. We have an exclusive interview with a couple arrested on Wednesday. Not what you might expect either. Take a look at these pictures. Jim Lafferty and Bonnie Garvin dragged off by the police. They were released this morning, and they join me now. Jim Lafferty, let me start with you here. Tell me what happened, because you're not your average protesters, if you don't mind me saying. Well, maybe talk me through your experience.
Yeah, maybe my age, Piers. What happened was very simply, we'd gone down to show our support for the protesters. They are mostly young, but there's other people our age there as well, of course. As we were coming back from a march on the sidewalk past the Chase Bank, they arrested two young men for no apparent reason. I have no idea why they arrested them. We and everyone else stopped to look, and the next thing that happened is the police began pushing all of us, and we happened to be the first ones in their line of sight, pushed us to the ground, grabbed us, claimed we were somehow resisting arrest, threw us to the ground, as I think your video shows, and with no further ado, did arrest us indeed, and leaving us, bruised and angry, but and insulted and wrongfully arrested, of course.
And you would know all about that because you're a lawyer, so you know exactly where the law stands. Are you going to take any action against the police? Well,
we may well do that. Certainly there are other actions that are going to be taken by National Lawyers Guild lawyers and others against the police here in New York, I should say. You've got over 800 people that have now been arrested in New York. I would contrast that very sharply with what's happened in my own town, Los Angeles, where frankly the police department is behaving much better. Chief Beck of the Police Department of Los Angeles made a point of saying, we are not the New York Police Department. He said that to me directly. They're not worrying about every simple little infraction that happens. They're working with the protesters who are camped out on our City Hall lawn, and it's been going much, much better there. And that's what the New York police should be doing, because these folks represent not just the 99% from a financial point of view, but if you listen to what they're talking about, the majority of people in this country really have the same positions.
Bonnie, let me bring you in here. Once you were both arrested, what happened then?
It was absolutely Kafkaesque. I mean, it was so surreal. Then they didn't know what to do with us because we were actually arrested by Brooklyn police who were doing a favor to the New York police. So we were in the 7th precinct, then we were down in central booking, then they ended up taking us to Bellevue, and I thought to myself, oh, how interesting, there are 2 Bellevue hospitals in New York, not realizing there was only one Bellevue, so now we're in the psych ward.
Playing devil's advocate, Bonnie, in the video, you can see that you're pushing the cops around a bit. I mean, are you completely blameless here?
Well, what happened was we were being pushed. So now when the guy when the police officer grabbed me, I said to him, let go of my arm. And then someone pushed me, so it does appear that way, but listen, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for someone to resist arrest. I mean, particularly someone of our age. I mean, it's one thing when kids do it because they don't know, but clearly we know better, and we're surrounded by the police, and the cop is twisting my arm saying to me, stop resisting arrest, stop resisting arrest. Well, I wasn't resisting arrest, but you realize, which that's the scary part, that they can just make it up on the spot. Suddenly, 5 minutes later, a lieutenant comes wandering over. Now, mind you, he hasn't been there. They've called him over. And he had the nerve to look at us and say, I saw you were doing this, you were doing that. I said, you weren't even here.
Bonnie, where do you see this going, this protest? Because it's clearly gathering momentum. It's being taken more seriously. It's getting more credibility. How far can it go? How big will it get, do you think?
Well, I mean, hopefully it'll be the equivalent of the Arab Spring. I mean, in the sense that, again, it's a way of discounting people to say they're not organized. It's all about delegitimizing what's really going on to make people look foolish, rather than to say, well, I mean, they don't have leadership, but look at the issues they're talking about. It does tap into something in people that's going to make them either swell into a movement that maybe does become a third party, or at least begins to put enough pressure on the parties that already exist, that they'll begin to listen to what 99% of the people want. I mean, we live in a country where 1% of the people control the majority of the wealth. That is wrong, and people viscerally are finally beginning to feel that. And the fact that they don't feel that in some way that the Democrats or the Republicans or that the government feel is legitimate does not delegitimize their expression.
OK, Jim Lafferty, Bonnie Govern, thank you both very much.
Thank
you, Piers.
Quite an ordeal you've been through, but all in the name of a good protest. Thank you.
Thank you.